All right, everybody, this is Van Jones, and I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I have just heard from one too many people that Donald Trump can't possibly win, that Donald Trump is so unpopular, he's going to be defeated by Hillary Clinton. It's going to be a mop-up. It's just going to be embarrassing. Donald Trump is going to turn red states blue. Because of Donald Trump, the Republicans are going to lose the House, they're going to lose the Senate. All of this is completely bogus. The rationale, the reasoning for why Donald Trump is not supposed to be the President of the United States is exactly the same as the misreading of the situation that said he shouldn't have ever gotten the nomination. So I want to just begin to arm and equip and prepare people. Let me find, I got some notes here someplace, to get ready to deal with reality. And here's the reality. Donald Trump not only can win the presidency, he probably will win the presidency. And mainly because folks on the liberal side continue to say it's over. They're actually depressing their own turnout already, demobilizing and demoralizing their own base by saying, well, this guy is so unelectable, there's no point in us even worrying about it. I say, au contraire. Number one, why did he get the nomination of his party in the first place? He doesn't have it completely wrapped up, but he's wrapping it up. It's because they made three mistakes. For number one, they really radically underestimated his appeal. Donald Trump's appeal. Number two, they had this view that he was going to blow himself up, that he was somehow going to make some huge mistake, and that mistake would result in him not becoming the nominee. And so number three, based on those two flawed assumptions, they then had the worst possible strategy, which was this idea, which you may not remember now, but that there were all these different lanes, so-called. So you would have the insider lane, and the outsider lane, and the governor's lane, and the senator's lane. Well, it turns out there aren't any lanes. There's just a nominee. And so they thought his appeal was more limited than it was. They kept saying he had these ceilings, 20%, 30%, 40%. Now he's getting 60%. They had to remodel the House because the ceilings were not there. They thought that he was making so many mistakes and saying so many outrageous things that he was going to not be able to, he was somehow going to blow himself up, he was going to fall apart, and therefore they could have a very individualistic strategy. All that turned out to be hooey. And now you hear essentially the same things from the Democrats. The Republicans struck me at the time as like little two kittens sitting on the train tracks. One kitten looks at the other kitten and says, hey, look at that train over there. It's getting bigger and it's getting bigger. But it's not going to hit us. I'm sure it's going to stop getting bigger. And they look back. Well, look, it's gotten even bigger. But I'm sure it's going to stop getting bigger at some point. Splat. Splat. At no point did the Trump train stop getting bigger. And it's not likely to stop now. Let me walk you through why this fake false comfort that the Democrats are now putting themselves to sleep with is completely ill-considered. Number one, please understand, this idea that he is going to make some gaffe, or he's making gaffes, he's making mistakes, that is most of the time proven to be not true. Certainly when he said that women should be punished for abortion, that was a big gaffe. Certainly he cost himself some support when it came to attacking NATO. Some hawks left him. But in general, these are not gaffes. The outrageous things he says are not in fact breaking the rules. He is in fact following the new rules. So number one, there are new rules for media that are showing up in this moment. Just like FDR changed the rules of the game because he was such a master of radio. He was able to take radio and he was able just to completely master that. And by having a new medium and a new master of a new medium, you wound up with a new president. Then you had JFK, and JFK was able to master television. And because you have the new master of a new medium with television, you suddenly have this incredible icon, JFK. New medium, new master, new president. Reagan had a little bit of that TV magic as well. Then President Obama, Senator Obama at that time came along. He was able to master the internet back when viral videos were a big deal and online fundraising was a big deal. He mastered that, and he became president. He followed the rules of online organizing. JFK followed the rules of the television era. FDR followed the rules of radio and confounded everybody, but all three of these guys, and wound up in the White House. The same thing is happening with Trump. It's a new media era, the era of social media, especially Twitter, and reality television. Everything that Trump is doing conforms to the rules of social media. You don't get fewer followers when you insult somebody on Twitter or say something outrageous on Twitter. You get more followers. If you're on a reality TV show and you're the villain is often the star of the reality TV show. And in fact, we were wrong. We thought that Donald Trump had left the world of entertainment, had left the world of reality television, and climbed over the wall into the world of politics. In fact, what he did was he took the world of politics and he pulled it over the wall into the world of reality television. That's what he did. And even the debates look like a reality TV show with all these different candidates, and they're being eliminated one after the other, and the sort of villain that you love to hate is the one that is knocking off all these people. So the idea that he's going to somehow self-destruct by saying something is completely nonsense. He says outrageous things. That is actually following the rules. It's not breaking the rules. Number two, this idea that he has some sort of a ceiling. Now they say his ceiling is with people of color. That he's so unpopular with women, he's so unpopular with people of color, he cannot possibly win. He will go down. He will be defeated. This is complete garbage. If you look at the numbers, you say, just to take the African American community in the time that I have, 70% of African Americans have a horrible view of Donald Trump. 70% of African Americans have a horrible view. He can't possibly win. I'm sorry. In order for the Democrats to win the White House, they don't have to get 50% of the black vote, or 60, or 70, or 80, or 90. Democrats, in order to win, historically have to get 90 to 92% of the black vote, which means if only 70% of people of black vote don't like Donald Trump, that means 30% are open to his argument. If he gets half of those, he's president. Okay? Now, you have to ask the question. If you had 20 black people in a room, could you find 3 that would be open to Trump? If so, he's president. Simple as that. Could Donald Trump, he's already said today he's going to go live in Michigan. He's going to park himself in Michigan. He's going to go to Pennsylvania. He's going to go to Ohio. These are places where you have working class people who are struggling. You say he has a ceiling there? The argument he's going to make is very, very simple. He's just going to go, he's going to tell all the black folk in the Rust Belt, you're poor, I'm rich. Give me a chance, number one. Number two, Hillary Clinton and her husband wrote NAFTA, which stole all your jobs. I'm going to tear that up. And then number three, by the way, I'm going to close the border so when we bring the jobs back, the immigrants can't have the jobs, you'll have them. Now, you mean to tell me you can't find 3 black folk out of 20 who might fall for that kind of anti-immigrant message, and that anti-NAFTA message, and that anti-poverty message with the dream of you can be rich like me? If you don't understand the threat that a Donald Trump candidacy poses to the Obama coalition, I just don't think you are paying good attention. And I don't want you to be put to sleep and have these lullabies from all these liberal commentators saying that what a huge gift it is for Donald Trump to become the nominee. I think it is a massive threat. I think the threat of what he could do to us in the Rust Belt. For instance, suppose because he's antagonized the Latinos so much, they are able to, with their allies, hold Colorado, hold Nevada, hold Florida to the Democratic map, keep that blue. If he goes and picks up Virginia, North Carolina, and then up into the Rust Belt, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Michigan, he's still president. So is it possible for Donald Trump to win Virginia and North Carolina? I would think so. Is it possible for his anti-trade message to break through in a Michigan, in a Pennsylvania, in Ohio? I would think so. And if so, he's president of the United States. We don't, most of the states don't matter. What matters are those swing states. And even if his anti-immigrant message mobilizes Latinos sufficiently so that he cannot win in Florida, Colorado, or Nevada, he still has a pathway. This is Trumpzilla. And so my final point to you is that we are making the same mistakes, liberals, that the Republicans did. They said he was going to make all these gaffes and blow himself up. They said he had this ceiling, and then they had a very dumb strategy, and their strategy was to divide up and have all these lanes and all these crazy things and fight each other. All progressives need to come together. Whoever the nominee is for the Democratic Party, we need to stop Trump. Do not give me this nonsense that Trump is just like any other Republican. It doesn't make a difference if it's Trump, if it's Hillary. Trump will unleash hell on the Latino community the minute he gets in office. He will unleash hell on the Muslims as soon as he gets in office. And then he's going to start appointing Supreme Court clerks. I mean, not clerks, clerks you can fire. Supreme Court justices who can never be fired, who will sit there for 10, 20, 30 years and give you hell for the rest of your natural life. I am sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but I would rather tell you now that unless we mount the most ferocious effort ever, you will be living with President Trump. We have to come together. The Republicans stayed divided until it was too late. I'm not arguing for Hillary or for Bernie. I'm arguing against Donald Trump. And I'm also saying it's not just about the electoral fight. There needs to be a cultural fight. There needs to be a spiritual fight. There needs to be an artistic fight. There needs to be mass mobilizations. We have to mobilize the entire country to recognize the dangers of giving a man like this the FBI, the CIA, the NSA, the IRS, and the Pentagon to attack whoever he wants to, and that's before he even gets to Congress to pass a bill. So I hate to ruin your weekend. I hate to ruin your Friday night, but please stop spreading the demobilizing nonsense that we can somehow laugh now and put our feet up and let Trump defeat himself. Ask Marco Rubio, ask Jeb Bush, ask Rick Perry, ask a whole list of Republicans who no longer exist on the battlefield how well that strategy worked out for them. Thank you.